Hang in there, Emily. I'm here for you. Jason.
Saying that, Jason firmly grips Emily's hand. Seems like they're too engrossed in the big event of childbirth to notice me. I resist the urge to slap him right then and there and decide to focus on my job. Internally, I'm debating how I'm gonna deal with these two. I think my colleague just gave me a shocked look. Gotta stay composed. For now, I should do everything I can to ensure the baby is born safely. After finishing up, I peek into the room and see the two of them getting all lovey-dovey, completely oblivious.
You did great, Emily. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jason. Right, the birth of a baby is indeed a joyous occasion.
We should have a grand celebration then.
I mutter, grabbing my phone. Judging by the strained expression on my colleague's face, I probably look pretty peeved. First, I call my mother-in-law. The baby is born, please come over. And so, after inviting all the relatives. My name is Natalie Miller, a 33-year-old working mom. Inspired by my mom, I became a midwife. My mother helped deliver countless babies, rejoicing with the parents at times and weeping with guilt at other times when she couldn't save a life. Watching her over the years, I found myself aspiring to be a midwife too. My dad is a man of few words, but he's always been there to support me in his subtle ways. Both are parents I'm truly proud of. However, there's one problem child in the family. My sister, Emily. Living at home and unemployed, she often pestered family members for money. So, when I got married, I distanced myself from her. I think you should do what makes you happy, Natalie. My husband Jason would often say. He was always understanding, even when I said I wanted to keep my distance from Emily. That's why I trust Jason from the bottom of my heart. Jason works in IT, and with both of us being busy, we rarely find time for each other. We don't have any kids yet. While I sometimes wish we did, I also think it'd be nice to spend our golden years just the two of us.
Natalie, you shouldn't push yourself too hard. Take care of yourself too, he often says.
For the record, we live with Jason's mother. His father has already passed away, and since she would have been living alone, we decided to move in with her. She, much like Jason, is a very kind person. She never comments on our choice to be child-free and is always looking out for me. I feel blessed to have her in my life. Although sometimes it feels more like she's the one taking care of me. My days are typically filled with hard work at the hospital. That day, there was a complicated delivery, and I had to stay overnight at the hospital to care for the premature baby. That's the situation. So, I won't be coming home until tomorrow. I see. Should I pick you up tomorrow then? What about work? Jason's comment makes me instinctively check the calendar. Tomorrow is just a regular Thursday, no holiday or anything special. In my line of work, I often get weekdays off. But Jason, who works a regular office job, should be working on a weekday. Well, I actually had to work on a day off recently. They told me to take a compensatory day off in return. Really? Well, if you can pick me up, I'd appreciate it. I decide to accept Jason's offer without thinking too deeply. The next day, after a very tiring day, Jason and I ate out and I immediately fell asleep when we got home. When I woke up, it was already dusk and my mother-in-law was cooking dinner in the kitchen. Mom, I'm sorry. Let me help you.
It's okay, dear. Jason told me. You've had a tough day, haven't you? Just rest.
I'm relieved by my mother-in-law's genuine and warm words. Anyway, dinner's almost ready so there's not much for me to do.
Jason was called into work. Let's just eat, the two of us.
I nod in agreement. During dinner, she kept glancing at me with a somewhat concerned look. Is something bothering you?
It's just, how are things with you and Jason lately?
We're the same as always, I believe.
That's good to hear.
I was puzzled by her demeanor and wanted to press further, but she deflected my questions. If it's something serious, she'll tell me eventually. I decided not to pry any further. From then on, Jason and I seemed to miss each other a lot. We used to go out on my off days if they coincided with his, or take a long drive with my mother-in-law. But he's been busy lately. We hardly see each other at home, and direct conversations have become scarce. Still, we've been able to keep in touch through calls and messages, so I've never doubted anything. Life was a bit frustrating. One day, encouraged by my mother-in-law, I went shopping with her. I was engrossed in our outing, trying to forget about work, when suddenly,
"Oh, sis, long time no see."
huh? I encountered the last person I wanted to see. She approached with the same mischievous smile as always. Still as beautiful as ever, which irritates me. I thought about escaping, but I couldn't just leave my mother-in-law behind. While pondering, Emily came right in front of us.
"You still look exhausted. I can't believe you're my older sister."
Mind your own business.
"Speaking of, since you're shopping, you have money, right? Treat me."
Here we go again. I sighed deeply at Emily's audacity. Ever since we were young, she's been asking me for money and favors. I'm not a pushover, so I've always rebuffed her. But she just doesn't get the hint.
"If you won't give it, I'll just take it."
And so she started taking my things without permission. Once, when I was suspicious about my stuff disappearing, I caught Emily stealing money from my wallet. My parents and I gave her a serious scolding, but she didn't seem repentant at all. After that, she kept trying to steal from me and even went after my friends and boyfriends.
"Natalie is bullying me,"
she'd claim, spreading lies about me. While my true friends stuck by me, some of my boyfriends ended up leaving me for Emily. This is why Emily and I have never gotten along. I planned to distance myself from her after high school. But I had been consulting with my mother, who's a senior midwife, and Emily had been visiting our family home, so we inevitably crossed paths. Only after I got married did we finally grow distant. And now, there she is, right in front of me. "Why are you here?" "We're shopping at a mall near Jason's parents' house. It's a place you can't get to from my family home without a car." Emily never got a driver's license, claiming it was too much hassle. And she's not the type to use public transportation.
"Well, how should I know? By the way, you're still handling other people's babies. When are you gonna have one of your own?"
What's that supposed to mean?
"Looks like I beat you to it."
Saying that, Emily caressed her belly. Upon closer inspection, she had baby items with her. Is she pregnant? But I hadn't heard anything about her getting married.
"Whose child might that be? Enough is enough."
My mother-in-law spoke sharply to Emily, who was grinning from ear to ear.
"We were enjoying our shopping. We don't need to be disturbed by someone as vulgar as you."
Let's go, Natalie. I was pulled away by my mother-in-law's arm. Natalie, is she related to you?
Yes.
I remembered that I had introduced Emily to Jason when I took him to my family home, but she had cancelled both the pre-wedding meeting and the wedding itself. Perhaps my mother-in-law and Emily had never met.
"She's my sister."
I see. Seeing the complicated expression on my mother-in-law's face, I sighed. Half a year flew by in the blink of an eye. Jason became even busier, rarely responding to my messages. And my mother-in-law seemed to be out and about a lot lately, leaving me to spend my days off alone. I was venting about all this to a colleague when we received a call about a pregnant woman whose water had broken being brought to our hospital. Her name is... What? The name listed was Emily. My very own sister. My colleagues, seeing my shock, asked, "Are you okay?" I managed a response and got to work. Heading to the delivery room, I saw a familiar face.
"Stay strong, Emily. You can do this."
For some reason, Jason, who should have been at work, was there. And he looked every bit the doting father-to-be. What? I was sure I let out a very low groan. I thought I saw the doctor jump a little. But I couldn't tear my gaze away from the two of them.
"Hang in there, Emily. I'm right here. Jason."
He was holding Emily's hand tightly, seemingly unaware of my presence. I wanted to slap him right then and there, but held back and focused on my job. My colleagues looked shocked, probably at the expression on my face. Gotta stay focused. For now, all I can do is ensure that the baby is safely delivered. Dad, please hold Mom's hand tightly. Jason's gaze was fixed on Emily, and he didn't even notice when I spoke to him. That's infuriating, but I need to concentrate now. And an hour later, the baby was safely born. Congratulations.
"Thank you."
Now, Jason's attention was solely on the newborn baby. One of Jason's strengths and weaknesses is his ability to focus solely on one thing. After all, he still hasn't noticed my icy glares. I left the delivery room, letting my colleagues handle the rest. Now, what should I do about those two? After finishing my duties, I peeked into their room and found the two of them being affectionate, oblivious to everything.
You did well. Congratulations, Emily.
Thank you, Jason. Yes, the birth of a baby is a joyous occasion.
We gotta celebrate this big time.
Mumbling to myself, I grabbed my smartphone. Judging from the startled look my colleague gave me, I probably had a fierce expression. I called my mother-in-law first. The baby's been born, please come. And as a result of inviting all the relatives.
Natalie! Were you pregnant?
I smiled at the relatives who quickly gathered. Seeing my expression, my parents seemed shocked. My parents always know. They must have sensed my anger from just my smile.
Calm down, everyone. I'll explain everything.
I don't see that fool and your sister. By fool, she must be referring to Jason. Did my mother-in-law know something? With that in mind, I brought all the relatives to the room where the two were.
Excuse us.
Yes? Oh.
Natalie!
My sudden entrance left the two of them in shock. And as more relatives came in, their faces turned paler. My mother-in-law's face, on the other hand, turned red with anger.
That foolish son!
As everyone looked puzzled, my mother-in-law was the first to speak up. And then, turning to me, she apologized.
I'm sorry for the trouble my foolish son has caused.
No, you're not to blame. Did you know about the affair?
Yes, actually.
According to her, she had once seen Jason and Emily walking together. And wanted to ask me about it. But seeing that I was oblivious, she couldn't find the right timing. So that's why she'd been acting strangely.
I've been investigating ever since.
She had been tailing Jason and had even hired a private investigator to dig deeper. Hold on. What about your job? Well, about that. He had quit, sadly.
What?
This new revelation left me stunned. And just as shocked, I thought, how pathetic. Since when? About.
When exactly? About a year ago.
Needless to say, this angered me further. The relatives too seemed to share my sentiments and were giving cold stares at Jason and Emily.
You understand, right, Jason?
Yes.
And Emily, once you're discharged, you understand, right?
Yes, I get it. While Jason looked downcast, Emily seemed sulky. Considering her attitude, I decided not to show any mercy. After that, I reviewed the evidence that my mother-in-law had gathered. Currently, Jason was being monitored by the relatives who had gathered earlier, and Emily was being watched by her parents. Thanks to the evidence my mother-in-law had gathered, it seemed likely I could file for divorce.
Jason really is a fool.
No, I'm sorry for my foolish younger sister.
By the way, if you don't mind me asking, why is your sister like that?
Oh, it's probably because of our aunt. Our aunt, a single lady without children, had always doted on Emily. With our busy mother, our reserved father, and me being rather loud, it was natural for Emily to grow attached to an aunt who validated her every action and pampered her. She became rather spoiled. My mother tried to distance Emily from our aunt, but they seemed to have been in contact behind her back. By the way, I wasn't pampered like that, and I often told her not to spoil Emily too much, so she probably found me annoying and kept her distance.
You must have had a tough time.
Well, she's been a handful since we were kids.
Even so, I can't completely blame your aunt. I wonder where I went wrong with Jason.
Hearing my mother-in-law's comment, I just gave a wry smile. I had been completely fooled by Jason. I had always thought of him as a genuinely kind person. Was I just blind? Later on, I learned that the relatives had questioned Jason. According to the story, Jason and Emily first met when I brought Jason to my parents' house. There, Emily said, "Actually, I have something I need to talk to you about regarding your sister." She cunningly got his contact information, and it seems they started an affair from there. Even though I had warned him about Emily being that type of person before.
He, didn't have any experience with women. Even during his college days. I was relieved when he finally brought you home as his girlfriend.
Oh, maybe he got fooled by Emily because of his lack of experience.
I never imagined it would come to this.
As I was lamenting with my mother-in-law, I got a call from Emily. I put her on speaker and answered.
Hey sis! Send Dad and the others home. I feel like I'm suffocating being watched over. You brought this on yourself. Mom just keeps lecturing me,
I let out a deep sigh at Emily's words. She doesn't get it at all.
Emily, if you're willing to pay the compensation right now, I'll send Mom and the others home. That's impossible. I just gave birth. Plus, I don't have any savings.
Then, just endure being watched.
Hey, sis!
Suddenly, Emily's voice cuts off.
Sorry, I took her phone away.
Right after, I hear my dad's voice and the call ends. For now, I'll leave that side to my dad. I've decided not to go easy on Emily. After that call, any remaining sympathy for her completely vanished. I won't show any mercy now. It doesn't matter that she just gave birth.
Don't go easy on Jason either.
Really go at him.
Yes, I'll make sure he can't recover.
I firmly promised my mother-in-law, and we discussed the next steps. After a while, when things were ready, I called Jason and Emily. Jason was dragged in by our relatives, while Emily quietly followed behind my dad. Seeing her sudden change, I tilted my head in confusion until my mom, holding the baby, whispered in my ear.
When Emily called you, remember? She got scolded really badly then.
Come to think of it, I've never seen my usually quiet dad angry. Probably, neither had Emily. Experiencing my dad's fury for the first time probably traumatized her.
Well, you know why you were called here, right? I'm truly sorry. She came crying to me asking for advice. You really think such an excuse will work on me?
Jason averted his eyes at my words. In the past, Jason had angered me. Though I now believe living together was a good choice, initially, Jason had tried to forcefully move in with me and my mother-in-law without discussing it. After confronting him about it, we decided to live together after a proper discussion. I thought I had taught him not to upset me back then, but it seems that lesson went to waste. Or perhaps, due to that incident, he might have hidden his intentions perfectly.
Don't you have any excuses? Ever since we were kids, you've always been the favorite.
What? According to Emily, our parents always praised only me, while she was constantly scolded. This led her to resent me and, being egged on by our aunt, she became even bolder. Then, when she heard I was getting married before her, she thought, it's always about my sister. And planned to lure Jason.
That's why I called Jason and got him drunk. That's a pretty low move. We only got involved once, but she told me, if you don't want me to tell sis, do as I say. Yet, you seemed pretty close when you gave birth.
Jason averted his eyes at my words. Why did I fall for a man like him? Is love truly blind? Normally, I'd be repulsed by a guy who avoids confrontation like this.
As we kept meeting, I genuinely fell for her. Then you should have just broken up with me. Well, I still love you, Natalie. And I wanted a child with you.
That's sickening. Jason looked pained at my words. Why is he making a face like he's the victim?
What about your job? I wanted to spend more time with Emily, so working felt like a waste. And you two were involved more than once, right? I'm a midwife. I can easily backtrack from the birth to when you got her pregnant. If you hide anything else, I won't forgive you.
At my father's words, Emily flinched. Then, she confessed that since Jason had quit his job, they met almost every day and got involved multiple times. Both my mother-in-law and I could only sigh in disbelief.
I'm gonna divorce you anyway. No, please. I'll also cut ties with you. You'll never set foot in this house again. Where the hell am I supposed to live?
Both my mother-in-law and I told Jason it was all his own doing. In fact, thanks to my mother-in-law hiring a private investigator, we found out another reason why Jason quit his job.
If you're so desperate, I can refer you somewhere.
Huh?
Prison. It's not bad. You get a roof over your head, 3 meals a day, and even earn a little money.
Jason's face went pale at my words. Turns out, Jason had been embezzling and was fired. Probably to provide for Emily. He had managed to repay the embezzled money, which kept him out of trouble, but that money came from selling off my savings and my mother-in-law's possessions. I was honestly shocked. And I felt pathetic for not seeing it.
Natalie! I'm not gonna show any mercy. If you keep arguing, I'll hand you over to the police.
He slumped at my cold stare. And just like that, Jason was taken away by the police. I had called them in advance. I had just asked them to wait since I couldn't simply hand him over.
Emily, don't you dare call me sister again. I truly despise you from the bottom of my heart.
The last one left, Emily, was taken away by my father. I never reached out to her again.
Now, where were we?
Yes, let's get started. After that, we immediately packed our stuff. We decided to move to a new house in case Jason tried to come back. Now, we're planning to live in a place closer to my workplace, the hospital, and we've even invited my parents. This is a proper goodbye, Jason. Emily. Apparently, he was found wandering around our empty house and was picked up by some intimidating men in black suits. On the other hand, Emily has found a new job and seems to be working diligently. She's been juggling multiple part-time jobs. I heard this from my parents. They, in a final act of kindness, left her with just the house. She probably spends her days working herself to the bone in that house.
She's so adorable.
Since then, we've been living in our new home with Emily's child. Though she's retired, my mother has a wealth of knowledge about babies. And my mother-in-law has been ever present, taking great care of the child. Thanks to these two, I've been able to raise the child with ease and confidence. With both my father and I earning money, we're financially stable. Though we aren't bound by blood, this child was long awaited. Having this child has motivated me to work harder than ever before. For bringing this child into my life, I have to be grateful to those two. Since then, the baby has officially become my child. I gave her a new name, Mindy. Someday, she might realize her origins and struggle with it. When that time comes, I intend to be right by her side. Until then, I aim to be the mother she can proudly boast about. Today, as always, I cherish life. Hoping for immense happiness to come to Hikari, and to the new life that's just been born. With that prayer in mind, I continue to face life head-on.